Welcome back to the Slightly Out Topic podcast. It is I, Demonic, with the homie Mario.
What's up, y'all?
Flu season is about to hit us.
It's upon us.
It's upon us. Here in California, we had the Hurricane Hillary stop by and give the southern
salty
half.
about losing.
Yes, exactly right. She gave the lower half of the United States, a good little wedding, and flooding.
Which it needed.
Did you see that it was projected to give so much rain that it would take us out of a drought for a whole entire year?
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, but guess what? We don't have dams for it, so.
God damn it.
Exactly. So with this new flu season upon us, there's COVID is deciding to rear its ugly face back again.
Nice.
And
right on time.
Right in time.
We were having too much fun.
Right. As soon as society starts coming back together, we're all singing Kumbaya. The economy is going well. It's going perfect. We're not trillions of dollars in debt.
There's no inflation.
What is it? Utopia is about to show up. And out of nowhere, a brand new variant of COVID is about to hit us. This COVID is COVID. The variant is called BA.2.86.
I can't believe you memorized that. Oh no, it's right there. I was gonna say.
You have it right there. I have it. I try to remember it now. But yeah, so this variant right here is supposedly, well, like they say with all the other variants, and obviously it's a new variant, so it technically is. It's more dangerous than the prior ones because it technically is a new variant.
It's the most deadliest virus since the last virus.
But
so deadly.
It doesn't even have a good name though. You can't name it BA2.
Well, you can't give it a scary name either. You don't want to panic people.
We had Hurricane Hillary. That's a scary ass name already.
No. Okay, so I think what happened there was because it was Hurricane Hillary, nobody took it serious.
So with this perfect timing, like we're talking about, we're gonna see. I'm gonna put my little tinfoil hat on, but I forgot to bring my tinfoil because apparently it's a precious resource, and the woman said, "You're gonna do what with it?" And I told her, and she's like, "No." So
it's for the house.
It's for the house. Apparently, it's for food. Whatever. Apparently, she can use it to like trap the grease in the grease from the frying pan, in the sink, so it doesn't go down. She can use it for that. But when I want to make a fashion statement about this new COVID variant, no, I'm the bad one.
Well, makes sense.
So, in my conspiracy theorist hat is that perfect timing. We're in the midst of an election.
Oh, I think in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, we're basically it's happening.
I think at the time of recording, I think tomorrow is going to be the first Republican debates. Yes,
which let's go a little bit off topic off of that. Trump isn't going to do the debates.
No, why would he?
Exactly, but
it would be a bad thing if he did.
It would be because they're going to mock the shit out of him, right? But at the same time, like the people want to hear what you had to say also.
No, they
do.
They only want to hear him.
Okay. Let me rephrase it. The Republicans, the Trumpers obviously don't want him to do it. The Republicans don't care, whether you do it or not. These debates are more for the people that are wanting to see who they're going to vote for. So not necessarily, they're not trying to go after like the Republicans. They're trying to go after, like the moderate to center people. Maybe if you can convince a little bit of the Democrats to, hop over, that's why he should do the debate. Now, the reason he should do it is because you don't want to give Joe Biden an excuse of why, well, you're not debating. Why should I debate you now?
No, and he's not going to. Joe Biden isn't going to debate either. But it would be a bad idea. I can only think of bad things happening if Trump decided to do this, because all they're gonna talk about is, Trump is gonna play his greatest hits.
Right.
Right. Hillary, laptop, jail, emails. Like he's gonna say that over and over again, which is fine.
He already has the vote no matter what.
Yeah, he has the people. I doubt he can get more people than he already has, but I do believe he can get less. So I think it would be a bad idea to go out there, because it's going to be. I really feel like it's going to be the same result as last time.
Right.
It's going to be the same. It's going to be a repeat.
Okay, so perfect time where we're on an election cycle, right? And this time it's the presidency. Basically, I see the same thing happening in as 2020.
If you're asking, what are they trying to hide?
I'm not.
They're
I'm
trying
not
to hide the fact that friggin' Joe Biden's trying not to go out there and testify.
Right. Exactly.
For his son's case,
dude. There's so much. How is it that Hunter Biden is getting indicted for all these things, but as soon as the media says one thing about Hunter Biden, hey, guess what? There's more indictments on Trump now.
Yeah.
Hunter Biden's sweetheart deal falls through. More indictments on Trump.
Yep.
They find out that the big guy. They actually find out proof that Joe Biden has a big guy. That Joe Biden is a big. That Joe Biden has also now a secret email talking about all these things. Guess what? More stuff. Mm-hmm. As soon as something happens to shine any light on the corruption of this administration, Hawaii's on fire.
I mean, here's the thing. There have been variants over and over nonstop since the coronavirus even started.
Yes.
Since then, it's been nonstop variant after variant after variant.
Yes.
I mean, they're saying this one is quote unquote different. I disagree. I think it's just going to be another variant.
It's always scare tactics.
It's a scare tactic. It's just something to throw you off the scent of what's really going on. And like you said, conspiracy theory time.
Right. So basically, what I'm going with this is that they're going to once again they're gonna do the stuff they did on the 2020 election. Not saying I'm not a conspiracist like that, where like that Trump won or anything like that. But I mean, if you've seen the videos of like the ballots being taken in at 3:00 in the morning, or the fact that they were putting cardboard around the windows where you're supposed to be like looking at the poll workers work, and like count the ballots, because a lot of people have, where they count the ballots, they have Democrats and Republicans there both watching the ballot counters, like, so they make sure that both sides are there watching, so you don't screw around. I don't know if you saw that video where they're covering up the windows with cardboard so you wouldn't be able to look in. Like, it's perfect timing for all these scare tactics to be like, oh, you don't need to come in, vote from home, do this, do that. Basically the same thing that happened in 2020.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Democrats are running a really bad president to get a bad candidate. I honestly don't mind Kennedy. He has some, he's an anti-vaxxer, which, I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but he is, he has some sort of, he's pro-gun in a way, but not really. He does have does support some form of gun control. I don't support any forms of gun control, but he's not a bad candidate for the Democrats. But the Democrats don't see it that way. They see him as a moderate. They see him as a moderate Democrat that can actually work with both sides.
Well, he's a threat to the establishment.
Yes, also another reason why they don't like him.
And he doesn't work well with the big pharma.
Yes, exactly. And that's all. That's
in bed with all the politicians.
Right, exactly.
Left and right.
And that's why they don't like him, because they're like, oh, everything that we're for, he's not for.
It's like every reason you had to vote for Trump, it's pretty much the same reason you should vote for Robert Kennedy.
Yes. Which like I say, he's not a bad candidate. To me, honestly,
is he crazy? Maybe.
I'm not gonna say no.
I'm saying maybe.
I think so.
He says some crazy shit sometimes.
Like a lot of the,
but so did Trump.
A lot of the vaccination stuff that he says, he basically says, like, oh, like if your kid got vaccinated, and like he got this certain disease, put two and two together, when it's not necessarily, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's like, oh, correlation, causation, not that works.
Right.
Buddy.
Without further ado, Mario, if you want to go ahead with the first story.
CBC News reports highly mutated COVID virus variant BA.2.86 showing up in multiple countries. A highly mutated variant of the virus behind COVID-19 has popped up in multiple countries, but scientists aren't yet sure whether it will help fuel a fall wave of infections or simply fizzle out. BA.2.86 was deemed a variant under monitoring by the World Health Organization on August 17th. Though only a handful of samples exist, its emergence across several continents since it was first identified in late July, coupled with its unusually high number of mutations, has put COVID watchers on high alert. In the ever-growing SARS-CoV-2 family tree, BA286 likely stemmed from BA2, an Omicron descendant that helped spark a wave of infections in spring 2022. So far, it's been identified at least 7 times in 4 countries, including Israel, Denmark, the US, and the UK, all in the span of a mere weeks. There are no BA286 detections yet in Canada, though scientists are actively monitoring this lineage. The Public Health Agency of Canada told CBC News on Monday. The Omicron offshoot has more than 30 mutations relative to BA.2 in its spike protein. The structures on the outside of each crown-like coronavirus that help it enter the human cells and is dramatically different in terms of its number of mutations when compared to either the original virus or the XBB strain targeted by upcoming fall vaccines.
I've seen that they are already starting to implement the mask mandates again.
Really?
So there is a school in Michigan that they sent out an email saying that they're reinstating the mask mandates. There's this airline that I believe it's in China or somewhere here. Sorry, China. That it's either there or here. That they are also starting to implement the mask mandates. It's basically it's like COVID 2.0 is what I fear they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, because with the Omicron variant, it was a scare, you know, because it's a new variant and it was, I believe, worse than the original one, right? If I'm correct, the Omicron.
I don't even remember, dude. Like they were all.
They were all like obviously people died from it, and we're not taking away from that.
I want to say maybe it was quote unquote deadlier, but transmissions were down versus the original because at that point, vaccines had already started going out.
Oh, okay.
So the unvaccinated were more likely to be severely ill or die.
Remember Joe Biden's.
But the vaccinated were.
Remember Joe Biden's
safer.
Comments about the how the unvaccinated are going to be like falling off and dying.
Yeah.
And that never happened. You know.
No, well, I mean the majority of the deaths were unvaccinated.
Not really.
No, it didn't. Yeah, really. Yeah.
Not the study that I saw. But I don't have it in front of me, so I will let you win that argument right there. But
cool.
You do know that if they do cause this over again, like I don't think our economy can bounce back. If they decide to do
another hit right now.
if they decide to do the lockdowns all over again, if they decide to do stimulus checks again, there is no way in how our economy is gonna bounce back for a while.
Yeah.
For a long, long while. Basically, we're kind of done. You know, like there's
There's
and
America,
on top
baby,
of that,
we're
like
never done.
yeah, but look how bad that the first lockdown caused us.
Yeah.
You know, like the economy took a shit. You know, the world economy took a shit. You know, people got addicted to substances. They ended up, you know, self-deleting themselves. You know, it was that bad. Now imagine this all over again.
Here's why I think it won't be as bad. The first time we were caught with our pants down.
Right.
We were never prepared for something like this.
Right.
Now that we've actually lived through it, I think we're going to all be way better prepared for it. Not to mention, a whole bunch of people are vaccinated already.
Right.
And boosters are coming up. So it shouldn't be as bad. Now, I doubt that they'll go to full lockdowns again.
I think they will.
I think that'll be just masks.
I think they might.
We've learned that, all right, 60 plus, stay your ass home.
There's an election coming. Conspiracy hat on. And it might not come true.
And if they make us stay inside, then I'll be on your side on this. That absolutely 100%. That's what they're doing. They're trying to keep us home again.
Okay, not necessarily a full lockdown, but my conspiracy hat's coming on, and I want to say it's going to be almost the same protocols as the first round of the pandemic are going to be implemented now. Maybe without a lockdown, though.
I was going to say, I think the big problem is that they overreacted too late, I guess, is what you can say.
Right.
Because the proper thing was wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask.
Well, technically, they already knew.
And if you're 60 plus, just stay home.
Right. So I guess, when was it? Like in January is when the first case happened here in California or in the United States, right? Around January. But if you're like me and you known already, I known about COVID since basically November, you know.
Of 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why it's called COVID-19, you know, because it happened, it was going on in 2019, you know, and there was reports of a new flu-like virus that has been that China was reporting on, but they didn't necessarily say what it was. You know, so there was already reports out there, and I still remember I talked to my wife about it, and I told her, I'm like, this is gonna hit. I'm like, if this is getting bigger, it's gonna hit as soon as it starts spreading, and as soon as one case happens in America, I told her, I'm gonna watch. Everybody's gonna panic, and what happened? Boom. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, nobody even panicked when the Ebola virus made it to the U.S. Remember that person was quarantined?
Imagine if Ebola, as the deadly as Ebola was, imagine if it was as easily transmissible as COVID.
Yeah, I mean, people would be way more dead.
A lot more.
Yeah,
literally more like second, third. I forgot how many plagues there was.
Have you ever seen that video of Jon Stewart giving his Wuhan Wuhan lab rant to Stephen Colbert?
Oh yeah. I saw that.
I love that clip.
You know what I also love? More gun control.
I knew it.
You knew it? So if you were a mayor of a city, right, you're going to throw out your little hat to be the mayor, and
I'd have a big hat.
You got the big hat. And if you were I'm a mayor, I'm wearing a
10-gallon hat everywhere I go. That way everyone knows I'm mayor, and I'm short. Can you have
the boots with the little spiky things? Yeah.
100%.
You have to do it.
Yep. And I want them to light up as I walk.
Oh my! Dude,
I'm gonna be the silliest looking mayor you've ever seen, but my city's gonna be run like a clock.
Okay, your city's gonna be run like a clock, right? So would it be from like 9 p.m. till like 9 a.m.?
Yes, everything shuts down after 9 p.m.
All right. If your city was plagued with gun violence, how would you try to help it out? And I'm being rhetorical because you really can't, but I'm trying to make you kind of like hint at the story.
As mayor, what I would do is shut the city down after 9 o'clock.
Just like this Chicago Democrat. So from the Daily Wire, Chicago Dem promotes, well, I should call it Democrat. Chicago Democrat promotes solution for insane homicide rate. Ask gangs to only shoot at night.
I think that might work.
You know why? Because gangs are law-abiding citizens. They follow these laws.
They're known for following rules.
Exactly. Like if we can model our society, like as criminals model their world, there will be a lot more better place.
Dude, imagine being the only gang that follows this rule, and you're like, no, only at 9 o'clock, guys.
You're just right there staring them down. You're like, one more minute.
We gotta wait till 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., oh, you're so dead.
What if they actually did follow this and like it was all quiet throughout the day, right? As soon as 9 p.m., I don't know where you are. It's just like a war zone.
Those would be the most compliant criminals I've ever heard of.
I feel bad for the people that work night shift.
Oh yeah, because the janitors, dude, all the paisas.
Exactly.
Are gonna be screwed.
All of our people are gonna be screwed. A Democrat politician in Chicago prompted a novel suggestion to address the city's insane homicide rate. Ask gang members to restrict their shootings to the evening hours. Maria Haddon sent an email which she prompted a proposal for a group called Native Sons, asking gang members to restrict their shootings between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m.
Bro, they give them 12 hours?
Only 12 hours. At least they have OT in it, because a regular hour would be an 8-hour shift.
Bro, what about people going to work at 8 a.m.? Like, come on, man.
If you're going to school and taking your kids to school at 7 o'clock in the morning, you just got to avoid those war zone areas, And like, Jesus. It's just, small steps. Small steps.
Well, you know what? This reminds me of, I guess there is this guy that lived in Baltimore. And I guess he was like a school teacher or something, and some shit was going down where some of the students were always late. And it was because they had to go around, because the school's right next to the projects, but they had to go around because if you went through the park, what happening is the gang members there were always, jack your shit, steal stuff from you.
Right.
So what he does is he went out to the park one morning, approached these gang members and talked to them just man to man, talking to all of them, and said, hey guys, just please let my kids walk through here because they're late to school every day, and then after school let them walk home, let them walk safe. They're just kids, they ain't got shit anyways. Like, what do you steal from them? Like $2-3? I'm sure you got much bigger, better things to do, but they don't feel safe walking through here. If you can just do that for me, the kids would appreciate it, we would appreciate it, the community would appreciate it. It fucking worked. So the kids know, in the morning, you got 1 hour to walk from your projects to school. After that, I can't promise you anything. And then after school, you got 1 hour to walk from school to the projects. But you will be safe. They promise not to do anything, and it worked. All those kids were left alone.
But you know what's so sad though, that it has to come to that.
Yeah.
Like your kids shouldn't have to negotiate with people to be like, hey, let my kids go to school.
Yeah, please don't rob these children for me. Do me a favor.
These children.
Yeah.
All right. These minors. All right. That can't defend themselves. Let them go from point A to point B without being harassed. Yep. You know, how sad is that?
Extremely.
You know, this is the society that we live in, dude. Like, and like, we should. It's controversial to say, but you know, we should have more strict criminal laws, like how the Philippines do. You know, like in the Philippines, you can have your store unlocked all night. You can have your doors open. Like, there's hardly any crime in the Philippines. Granted that, you know, you mess up one time and you could basically, you know, be killed.
There is no second time that you fuck up.
There is no second time. But look at the way how their civilization is. You know, it's not like how the inner cities of any big city USA are. You know, like they're just a lot more cleaner. People are safe. Like people feel good. Like women feel safe walking at night by themselves over there. You know, it's like it doesn't happen over there.
No, because you're running a huge risk over there. You're not risking a year in prison, 6 months probation. You're not risking anything like that if you assault a woman in the Philippines.
All I'm saying is that
you're risking getting murdered.
Right. Start implementing those tactics
public hangings
here in the United States, and it might be a while, but sooner or later people are going to be like, oh, it's not worth it because we're actually enforcing the laws and not putting all these, like, you know, law 1.2 or whatever, you know, where like
gang members sing about it in rap songs when they're like, yeah, I'll do 5 years, and when I get out, they'll be a legend or whatever.
Yeah, like it just it doesn't make sense.
They're not even scared.
Like, I get it, you know, you want to rehabilitate the people, you know, you want to like bring them back to like society, but after the 12th crime and you're still being let out, you know, like it just doesn't make sense anymore. Like, you know, you've had your chance. You know, like you don't want to be a productive member of society, then guess what? You don't live in a society anymore. You know, it's just too much of a risk.
Well, you heard what's happening in, I think it's El Salvador, I think it is, where the president has basically turned into a fascist, but in the sense that, but he's specifically targeting gang members.
I haven't heard.
Whereas, like, if you have gang tattoos, if you just look like a gang member, if you're, like, participating in gang member activity or suspected gang member activity, they're going to tie you up and put you in prison.
Dang.
And so right now he's just locking everybody up, like military, like he's got the military involved, military and the police, and they're just rounding all these people up. And people are fighting. The United States is right now fighting for their human civil rights. These gang members, and the president there is like, no, because you know what? These guys did not take their victims. They didn't feel bad for their victims, so we're not going to feel bad for them. They didn't take their victims' rights into consideration, so we're not going to take their rights into consideration.
Dude, you know, honestly, that's the way to do it right there.
Dude, you should see the videos. Like, it's fucking brutal. Like, they have these guys tied down, strapped up, like, hands behind their back, everything.
It's
24/7.
It's never pretty to enforce laws.
Yeah,
it's not this pretty thing.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. You know, it's not a pretty thing.
Law
you're over here.
Should put the fear in people that, hey, if I do this, this is what's gonna happen.
And like I was saying earlier, you know, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Like if they started implementing these laws here in the United States, it's gonna take some time, you know, for people to be like, okay, I'm actually gonna think twice about doing what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
you know, because our laws are so lax that they're like, you can get out in 3 months. 6 months.
Hold on though, I will say this, devil's advocate, and also because I believe this a little bit, is that you can't start doing stuff like that without at least giving people opportunities. Because a lot of the times these people turn to that gang lifestyle or whatever, it's for money.
Right.
It's for cash because they live in communities, they live in these areas in which, you know, you don't have these job opportunities.
Right.
There are no small businesses. Everybody works for the Walmart.
Right.
And Walmart is over here paying people $7.25 an hour and expecting the government to, you know, fill
I
in
mean,
the
not
rest of the
necessarily.
money.
Have you seen how much the wages here in California Walmarts are?
Well, let's say even here in California.
I'm only saying California because I can only talk about California. That's what I'm saying. You know.
Well,
But
I'm
like,
saying because Walmart in states that they're allowed to follow federal minimum wage, it's where they do federal minimum wage.
Okay.
And one thing here is like we live in a part of California where gangs aren't that big of a problem.
Right.
It's because our cost of living here isn't that high.
Right.
Okay. You move to LA, San Francisco, you work in the Walmart there, you can make $19-20 an hour there. You're not going to live in San Francisco, LA, $19-20 an hour. I'm sorry, that's only
Right.
$40,000 a year. That's impossible.
I mean, I
You're not gonna do that.
do agree with you that there should be some sort of outreach to help these
And I'm not even saying just outreach. I'm like what I would do if I were governor, if I were mayor. It's like the corporations from now on, you got to pay your people a fair living wage, period. And we're going to remove all restrictions, not all restrictions, obviously, but we're going to remove a lot of the red tape for small businesses.
I mean, I
In fact,
agree
I want
with
to make it easier to have a small business than it is to run a corporation.
I agree
Right
with
now,
you.
It's like the opposite.
I agree with you with the removing the red tape for smaller corporations. I don't agree with you where you get to dictate how much somebody should get paid from a company.
Well, that's what minimum wage is.
Which I also don't believe in minimum wage because the minimum wage is basically like screws up everything. Like the minimum wage, I believe the minimum wage should be what the market dictates. You know, like if you're running a bad company or whatever, you know, like
Here's the thing, and I would agree with you on that if
and this is
there
a
weren't
perfect world scenario.
Yeah, perfect world scenario. And I would agree with you on that if there weren't so many lobbyists fighting against unions.
Well,
If you didn't make it so, if corporations and federal government laws were not so friendly and cozy with the corporations, essentially making them anti-union.
so okay.
Let the people unionize. Let the market dictate how much these people get paid.
I understand with the union where you're going. I'm in a union, and so far my union's been doing pretty good.
Remember, your union fought for you to get paid what you get paid.
Oh no, exactly.
And if it wasn't for
but
the
there's
union,
there's a lot of unions that are very politicized and
and a lot
actually
of them are corrupt. Yeah.
exactly. That's
But
where I'm
here's the
going.
thing.
That's where a lot of people aren't pro-union because there's a lot of unions out there that don't give a shit. All they want to do is like keep on taking the money, tax you, keep on taking your money just to feel their their
political
funding
agendas,
exactly funding the political people that they vote for. You know, there's
But here's the thing, though, and you're right that that's what they do with that money. And even if your political ideologies do not align with the political ideologies of the union, your money still goes to that candidate. I agree with that. Vice versa, the corporations are doing the same thing. They're giving money to candidates also because corporations have the same rights as human individuals.
Yeah,
in the
but
United
those
States.
but now if you think about it, those corporations are just a few members of the corporation, not a whole entire people.
Okay, but you understand.
But
that
I know what you're saying. I
That
get you.
corporation has tons and tons and tons more money / influence than
Oh no, I 100%. I know where you're going with. I know where you're going with. I know, and I agree
teachers
with
union,
you.
for example. Cannot even begin to gather as much money as, let's say, Walmart Corporation.
And which I agree with you. But then
Amazon.
again, if you notice that like usually the unions and corporations basically they kind of go for the same party anyways. You know, not saying all of them do, but a majority of them do. You know, and it's just that's where I'm going with it. Like I don't agree with. There's good unions, there's bad unions. A lot of them are bad unions. A lot of them are good unions. I mean, there's just like you hear the stories of both of them. You know, like look at the look at Amazon. Amazon. Well, I think that was a bad one. So Amazon. No, there was
have a union. I think you're talking about
there
UPS.
there was a Amazon that that was trying to fight to have a union. This was in another state that was trying to have a union go in there, but the people didn't want it. And then over here in California, they were trying to fight to have the union, but Amazon didn't want it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's just different. You know, different states have like I guess they just want different stuff.
Well,
you know?
here's a quick example: is you brought up Amazon, UPS,
Which I'm going to actually quit my job and I'm going to be a UPS worker.
I have friends that are UPS drivers. They are excited as hell to finally be making a living wage because we live in
living
California.
wage.
Yeah,
bro. Those people are going to be set.
Not even set, bro. Because you got to think about what it costs to buy the average median house. I'm saying average. I'm not saying the shitty house. I'm not saying the best house. An average house here in California is like $400,000.
Right. But I mean,
you're not getting that unless you make 6 figures.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, at the same time, if you were to buckle down and like, live under what you were, like if you don't try to live this extravagant lifestyle, you can have that house paid off for in 5 years.
But that's not even extravagant.
I know. No, I'm just saying. Just saying. That's good money. Like
that's what I would call a living wage.
That's more than a living wage right there.
No,
Because I'm paid way under that right there, and I have a family. I'm supporting. I have me, my wife, my 2 kids. I make a shit ton under that right there, and I can support my family. Like I'm nowhere near that close on the money right there, but I can still support. My
and not to give out personal information, you can edit it out if you want, but trying to save money right now with the money you make.
Oh, I had no savings.
Exactly. That's saying that you don't have a living wage. What you have is a barely getting by wage. What you have is a if I get hurt, if I lose my job, I'm homeless wage.
I mean, that's kind of true. That's
the difference. That's the difference between a living wage and then barely getting by paycheck to paycheck.
I can't comprehend.
I'm singing on a banjo.
Maybe I just can't comprehend. Maybe I just can't comprehend that much money. That's why I'm saying, that's more than what you need. Yeah. I'm not. Hell, make that money. I'm not saying don't make that money. Yeah. I guess it's just to me that is like. That's $100,000 more than like what I'll ever see. Hell, 100. Well, how much is it that UPS is right now?
It's 120, I think.
120.
Yeah.
What I've seen is 140.
Okay.
So, but that's including with like benefits and all that right there.
Right.
That is.
Not to mention they've also just entered a new tax bracket. So how much of that are they even going to keep?
Right.
And their union dues are also going to go up because of this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but they're still at the end of the day, it's still a living wage. So now you're talking about people who can finally afford the average, not the best. Not the worst, but an average home.
Now imagine if they're a married household and the wife is working too, or the significant other is also working.
Yeah,
boom, dude, you're set.
That's
right
excellent.
there.
But here's the thing: the idea behind all that, but the ideal, let's call it the ideal, is that one person can provide while the other person manages the home.
And back how it used to be back.
Because my wife and I, we make more money than that, but my wife works 2 full-time jobs. I work a full-time job and I run a side business. And I run multiple hustles.
And bro, okay, don't sell yourself short. You run a very successful podcast as well.
Super successful.
Okay, like you take your time out, and like I know that your kids hold onto your legs and they're like, "Daddy, don't go,
don't leave me."
Don't leave me.
That's funny because she actually does the baby.
You know what? It's funny too because like my other ones actually started doing that too as well. They just grab onto my legs. They're like, I tell them I'm going to work because they don't understand obviously what a podcast is, and all that. So I'll be like, I'm going to work, and she'll grab my. She's like, No, you're not. And I'm like, I wish I would say no, but we have a successful business going on here. So yes, if you live in Chicago, you are safe between the hours of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
9:01.
Sorry, 9:01
to 8:59.
8:59 p.m. But from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you better hunker down in your doomsday bunker or stay strapped.
Bro, I forgot we were talking about.
Well, I know, right?
We went way off topic.
Way off topic, but it was still kind of on topic, but it was slightly off topic.
That's why gangs gang.
That's why gangs gang or gang, like Pinky Doll, as she says.
Gang.
Exactly. Guys, thank you for listening to this episode / watching this episode of the Slightly Off Topic podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.